Good morning. About 3 years ago, I found that I was a coordinator for Project Linus. For those of you who don't know Project Linus UK, it's a worldwide organisation. Everybody works as a volunteer, and we make quilts for children up to the age of 21 who are traumatised, ill, or just need a bit of comfort. As a coordinator, one of my first jobs was to pick up fabric and donations from anybody that called me. And I went over to Rawn's one day to meet Lorraine, who I didn't know, and you never know what you're going to get when you pick up a donation. It could be something that you really can't use. She filled my car with everything you can think of to do with sewing, and a project that she'd started, but due to her cancer diagnosis, she knew she couldn't finish. When it came, I believe it was just the middle part she'd put together. She'd seen this quilt as a heritage quilt in an exhibition somewhere or in a museum, and was determined she was going to make it. She did it with mathematical precision, with the instructions, and every single bit was written down, photographed, calculated, and then she handed it over. Fortunately, Quilting Pleasures took on the challenge of finishing it, but I decided that it wasn't really suitable to donate to a child, because often they need washing more frequently, and it just didn't seem the sort of thing for a child. So we decided to raise money for Loris and Cransley instead. Lorraine is doing really well still. She's in Northampton, she's taken on a podiatry course so she can help other people. She's really inspirational, and she's totally thrilled with what we've done for her and for the charities. Anything else, Diane? Yeah.
Just to give you some information about the quilt itself, you start off with a 1.5 inch square of fabric and a paper hexagon. You then sew the fabric to the hexagon, and then you join the hexagons together. There are over 12,000 hexagons in the quilt. They've all been sewn together by hand. There's a small piece of work here that I'm working on. It's this third prize for the raffle. That's going to be a bag, and you can see a little bit closer there how it's done. So there are 12,000 hexagons. It is when we did. Sandy said that we had instructions. We didn't really have instructions. We had mathematical calculations, numbers, photographs, but no actual pattern. So we've done a little bit of unpicking along the way, and it was very difficult to do round the corners, but Di Jones did a great job. We sat for a couple of afternoons trying to work this out, but it's all fine. It all sewn by hand, except the binding, which is actually attached by machine, and then the other side is hand sewn, just to keep it secure. So there's the quilt, it's then the wadding, and then the backing. It measures 92 inches by 72 inches, so will hang nicely over a king-size bed. We've had 6,000 tickets printed because we'd like to give £6,000 to Loros and £6,000 to Cransley. We've incurred a few expenses, and we'd like to cover those as best we can, because the printing, and we've got to pay to go to the carnival and so on. So next Monday afternoon, we're having a cuppa and cake afternoon in Great Bowden Village Hall, to which you're all invited. You can have a drink, a piece of homemade cake, pop a little donation to cover these expenses, and then if you'd like to buy a ticket, you can buy a ticket. They are £2 each, and we're hoping that we're going going to sell 6,000 so that we can give both of these wonderful hospices a good donation. One of my best friends, her daughter died at Loros at 33, so it's very special to me, and other members of the group have got connections with Cransley, so it seemed very good to divide the proceeds between the two. We're unable to sell tickets here today because the Methodist Church don't allow it, but if you would like to buy a ticket and can't come next Monday, then my details are on the website, I believe, somewhere. If not, I can give them to you and we can sell you a ticket. Are there any questions? I think you'll agree, it's quite stunning. I didn't think we'd get there. It was quite daunting at one point. Probably about a year ago, we would just seem to be going round and round, and then suddenly, once we'd got to sort of about here, it began to feel as though we were getting towards the end. But it has been a true labour of love, and you know, I certainly I've made one bag in 2.5 years. That's all the quilting I've done apart from this. And there are 7 other ladies who put in an equal amount of work. There's one lady who's done a lot more than me, but she's not here today. Have I missed anything?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Yes?
Yeah, I'll shout out. Have you any idea how many stitches?
Right, so there are 12,000 hexagons, each of which have 6 sides. So each side is attached to another one, so you can't multiply the 12,000 by 6. So, no. No. If you'd like to come and look at the quilt a bit later, please do, but we'd be really grateful if you didn't touch it, just because we've touched it so many times. We're trying to keep it clean, because it's going to various different places. It's going to the carnival, and we're taking it to Leicester Racecourse, to the big textile show in October. And the raffle isn't being drawn until the 11th of November, because then we can go to the textile show, because there'll be lots of like-minded people there who I think will appreciate, you know, what we've done, and we're hoping to sell lots of tickets there. So.
Is that going to be the prize then?
Yes, that's the first prize. There are 2 cushions for the second prize, and then one of which is there, and then I'm making a bag which isn't finished, but I've just brought you the front and the back. I've got to put it all together. That will be the third prize. When you have a license for a raffle, which we've got from Cransley, we haven't had to pay for that. You have to have more than one prize, so that's why I've carried on sewing hexagons, even though the quilt's finished. But anyway, there aren't many left now, so that's great.
And the raffle tickets are £2 each, but they are available in very handy books, 5 in a book.
Yeah. Jane was just saying that the raffle tickets are £2 each, that they're very, very handy because they're in packs in groups of 5. So if you did want to buy a book and not have to, you know, worry about writing, then you can have a book. That would be fine. Right. Thank you very much for coming and listening. That's great.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Well,